to another episode of Inside the Can, your guide inside the hottest, most honest trash talk. My name's JT, and not here just as eye candy, Sensei Tyler. We appreciate you joining us to get to know your waste inside and out. This week, we're pulling back the curtains to get a direct look at recycling from the county level. And we have the perfect showman here to amaze and inform us. From Crow Wing County, the Land Service Director, Gary Griffin, and District 2 Commissioner, John Lepke.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us here.
Well, we do have several questions for you guys today. And so can you guys start off by just kind of explaining what the SCORE funding is and how that works in our community?
Sure. SCORE funding. SCORE is basically a select committee of recycling and the environment. They're set up. It's basically an arm of the state. And the money is generated from a tax from when garbage haulers come to a landfill. There's a basically 17% tax on commercial, a little bit less for residential when you throw things or dump things in the sanitary landfill. And a portion of that money, that goes to the state, and a portion of that money comes back to counties to help support recycling efforts and waste management throughout our communities. And so Crow Wing County gets roughly about $235,000 a year in SCORE funding, and we sponsor two main recycling drop sites. One's at our landfill, and the other is Ideal Transfer Station. That takes the bulk of that money to support those.
Gary, on the SCORE funding, I don't remember the exact number, but it's around 50% of that our county receives is used for administration.
The majority of the SCORE funding goes right into the programs that we're trying to offer with our recycling efforts. So I know it's 100 and I want to say 40,000 just for the two drop sites, just to pay for that recycling at those two sites.
Hauling it out.
And then we still have extra costs trying to get mattresses recycled, electronics recycled. You wouldn't believe it, but it's pretty expensive to get rid of paints and chemicals, gasoline and things like that today.
You are right. When I look at the SCORE report, that was the confusing part. It's 50% of your expenditures.
Sure.
But then at the bottom, there's only the 235 that comes in SCORE. So
Correct.
I do apologize. That was wrong.
Correct. Yeah.
Who decides on where and how that SCORE funding is used?
The state basically sets how much money comes to us, right? So that 235. But once we are allocated the 235, we have what's called a solid waste management plan. And with that helps us get a permit to keep our landfill going. There's an interplay with that. And then to get and receive SCORE funding, there's certain criteria that we have to do just so that we're eligible to get the money, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's these different things we have to do that are already, I want to say, siphoning off money that we would prefer to go directly into recycling efforts just to get the money in the first place. But the county board basically makes the decision as to what programs are offered for the community. We have a solid waste committee at the county. All 5 commissioners are on it. We meet quarterly and talk about different issues facing our landfill, recycling. Are there other opportunities that we can do? Like just a couple of years ago, the county board voted to start to include fluorescent bulbs to be recycled, where before you could only take them to like certain locations, and now we also accept those at the landfill. So
that's good to know.
Just trying to provide more opportunity for some of these things that have bad heavy metals in them that we'd rather have them come to us than somebody either throw them in the garbage or shoot them with the old shotgun and let all the mercury and stuff like that go into the soils.
Okay.
Are those meetings closed meetings, or are those open to the public?
Open to the public.
As long as anytime we have 3 or more commissioners in a room, that meeting is open to the public.
Okay. That brings up my next point. What are your thoughts on the state statute 115A93 subsection 3C?
Oh, that's a great question.
If you're not familiar, that was 1991 is when that was.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, and I'm not a private business owner, so I'm a government guy, right? But I want to say that I'm a property owner. I get my garbage picked up.
Mm-hmm.
I recycle quite a bit, and mainly my wife loves Amazon, so we have a ton of cardboard.
It's always the wife. We never take credit.
Well, I might have a few packages in there. She might argue with that.
Yeah.
But it's awesome that we have curbside, and there's nothing more convenient than curbside recycling. That's why we like the one-stop drop at the landfill. Usually you're not there's people that come out there just to recycle, but the majority of our customers out there bring a smattering of stuff. So they got garbage along with their recycling, and if they can recycle half of their load for free, still have a fee for something else. I mean, it's trying to make it very convenient.
Sure.
Otherwise, the less convenient, it's so much easier to say, "Oh, I'm not gonna recycle these 4 cans. I'm just throwing them in the garbage." And so that's the overall arching thing is trying to make it convenient, of course, affordable. There's only so much dollars to go around for everybody, and trying to stretch it as much as we can.
So on that state statute,
Mhm.
it makes the county the responsible authority to enforce this, not charging somebody who recycles more than somebody who doesn't.
Isn't it something that we definitely need all of us to be compliant? We don't. Not saying do we always agree with. I call it Big Brother, the state.
We
But
call it daddy.
but nonetheless, we do need to comply. And never being a business owner, there are some things that we discuss at the county that I may never drive on County Road 2 down, let's say, the south part of the county. But as a taxpayer, we all pay into the county highway pot.
Yep.
And so I kind of think of it a little bit like maybe you have 2,000 customers that you go and pick up, or whatever the number is. Not all of them want to recycle, but they may end up helping pay
Sure.
for the recycling efforts of others. And that's what the state of Minnesota is geared to do currently with their statute.
Right. Okay. Yep.
If that kind of makes
It does, and I like the way you put it into the highway thing, because that's exactly what it is. We're all subsidizing all of it.
Yes, we're all in it together. So
Yep.
if you don't want to recycle, fine. But the goal is, and this is what there is, to try to have folks be encouraged to recycle, because
Sure.
it is a benefit to the environment to do so, which we all know that I think people think sometimes recycling is cheaper or even maybe free. It's pretty expensive
It
to
is,
do
yeah.
that.
And that's where our biggest questions come from. This whole statute is we're not allowed to charge for the extra can, the extra truck, the extra person, the extra time to provide that service. And so just kind of curious if that would be anything that could be brought up during one of those meetings, and potentially maybe get some traction, because around here with our haulers and how everybody's spread out, it becomes very expensive for
Sure.
us to go and collect the recycling.
In the more rural areas.
Yeah, right. And we get phone calls all the time. People want to recycle. They're trying to, and I mean, whether it's us or another hauler in the area, they get the same answer. No, hey, we can't, because we just can't afford to go pick it up for them. But if we were able to charge and say, hey, if we can provide recycling for you, if we were able to add an extra $15 to your bill, now we can cover that cost to come out and collect it for you. But according to the state statute, we're not allowed to do that.
Okay, that'll bring up a really good point. On my point is first thing when I learned about SCORE, I was the mayor of Jenkins, and everybody said, well, we need to get a dumpster up here so people can put their stuff in and use that SCORE funding, so they don't have to run around and figure out how to do recycling, because at that time there wasn't local recyclers. Well, we have worked out a really good partnership, and the Ideal Township has made a commitment, and they've had that transfer station out there for many years. They've made a commitment to do that, so they have a person manning that place. They take you go in, you check your stuff in. If it's something that they charge for, you're getting charged for it. If it's recycling, it goes in recycling. The difference with them and the county is the fact that that is their facility,
Right.
and they do charge a $15 a year permit to use their facility,
Which is nothing.
Which is nothing, because if you wanted to drive from just north of here all the way down to our recycling in south of Crow Wing County, or in the middle of Crow Wing County down there, it's a 90-mile round trip. So, to pay that $15 if you want to recycle and bring it over to the Ideal transfer station is really good, really good deal for the people we serve. It allows that to happen. And that goes through part of our, our SCORE funding, is to be able to get that recycling out of there and get it diverted and not being thrown in the garbage. Our landfill, we're very lucky in Crow Wing County that we actually have landfills. When I'm on this solid waste work group, I'm amazed at how many counties are still putting it in the ground. And once the state has stopped that, those counties have no place else to go except to ship it. And the cost, you'd say, well, it's on the backs of the haulers. No, it's on the backs of the actual person who's paying the bill to the haulers, the consumer. So it's all costing us money. You're just an intermediary, like we are sometimes at the county.
We just have to raise our rates.
You just have to raise your rates. So
one thing after listening to you guys talk here, this is a common theme I'm learning through all the different people we've had inside the can. It's you that's the problem. And I hate to say it. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Us as consumers are the ones that drive A, the cost, and 2, the facility to dump it, and D, the cost, mainly the cost.
Yeah.
A2 and D.
Yeah.
A2 and E, is that how you?
Yep.
What school did you go to anyway?
So, you know, and the cost is a main reason. You know, in 2020, 6 years ago, we had 12 drop locations throughout the county,
Mm-hmm.
and there was so much contamination. We were getting, I can't remember the exact numbers. I want to say it was over 15% extra if you just added everything up.
Yep.
Just to pay because people were throwing non-recyclable products. It spoils it for everybody. But there are the folks that have the wish recycle, that they think, oh, well, it's plastic, it can just be automatically recycled. And there's so much of that still where we try to have more education to folks because, yes, we all are, oh, geez, it looks like they could probably reuse
Mhm.
this. But if they can't and they get so much of that in a load, it becomes garbage.
Right.
And it just continues to push all the prices up on this. So it's really important to continue what really is recycling and what isn't. And to top that all off, to get it so tricky, today this item might be recyclable. Tomorrow it might not be if there's not a market to get rid of it.
Yep.
And so it is somewhat, you know,
It's ever changing.
it is ever changing. That's a good way to put it, Tyler.
You know, if we do not have an end market for it, it's not recycling.
Yeah.
It's garbage. And what we find is we spend, as you well know, I mean, recycling is not cheaper than just putting it in the landfill.
Right.
But to keep it out of there in the long run, in the vision of the long run, will keep our landfills from growing up as big as they are and have some stuff in there that maybe later on we'll find shouldn't have never been in there.
Right.
Well, and so just like how you guys used to have those 12 locations and now you kind of moved down to 2, wouldn't it be kind of the same end goal is if we were to allow haulers that opportunity to recycle in more areas for more people to keep some of those contaminants out?
That seems to be the most popular and where the majority of the recycling is coming from.
Mhm.
The 2 drop locations that we have, I think we're getting around 10% of the overall recycling because the curbside is so much.
It is.
And then you have the business recycling. Think of how much recycling a Walmart does just on cardboard boxes in a day, right? I mean, it's ginormous numbers. But I would say to your earlier question, this stuff is always open for discussion with the commissioners. One of the things that has been, I think, maybe a challenge with Crow Wing County is that we do have an active and a very well-run landfill that we don't have a tipping deck over there that we have all this sorting conveyors and stuff. So if a cycling truck dumps on a floor, we are not set up at all to handle that stuff.
Sure. So the way when we dump our loads, it just gets dumped on a tipping floor and they push it right into a trailer and hauls down to a recovery facility,
Right.
which is where they do all the sorting. And that was one of the things that we were in our list of things to talk about was when the county built their new recycling facility, was a tipping floor for commercial use considered, or was it not because of cost or?
It wasn't really considered. When we built that building, the focus was on individual residential customers.
Okay.
Is what the focus was there.
Okay.
What we were trying to do was upgrade an aged old, frankly, pole shed that we were handling HHW out of.
Mhm.
That was very inefficient, costing us a lot more money. I mean, we used to only take HHW 2 days a month. So if you think of it,
Yeah.
how many people were really willing to hold products that are really hard on the environment?
Yep.
And to make it more convenient, we open up this facilities and we take it basically in the summer 6 days a week because we'll let you drop it off on Saturdays too. So we've gotten such an influx of that. We're like, wow, just that alone. And we don't even get into the electronics and the mattresses, how we handle them so efficiently now. And we're recycling almost a third more than we did 2 years ago in just mattresses. You
Wow,
know, so
really? So those are coming out of the woods and getting taken care of.
It's been phenomenal. It doesn't mean that there's something better by all means on
Sure.
the horizon and stuff, but it does seem like the county board took a great step up in the service level that they provide
Okay.
the citizens there. And then the partnership that we have with Ideal that Commissioner Lupke talked about, the batteries, all your paints and stuff, they can't handle it, but we have a building, they put it there, and once a week we come and get that from
Okay.
them, and then we'll take it and process it.
I think we're really in the top of our game in what we're doing. That doesn't mean we can't do better. And
Right.
and I think that's on everybody. That's on us as consumers that are looking at it and say, oh, it's just a small cardboard box. Why not just throw it in there? Well, really, it should go in a different stream. Diverting that stuff into those other streams is very important, for us to be able to do. Otherwise, we're going to have some real problems as time goes on. And you might as well say it's one hell of a compost site.
It is.
Yes,
When
it
you
really
really
is.
think about it, and you guys have been out there to look at it, and it is not a dump. It is, and the way we do that,
It's really
and
high tech.
it's high tech. And today, the state is putting higher pressures on what that can be.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're going to meet all those. Those take funds, and the score funding we've talked about. Something I've learned from the solid waste work group is that, okay, so all this tax dollar goes in this fund, and all this money is available then for taking care of our problem. Oh no, the state takes part of that and it goes into their general fund, or they use some of that to go to MPCA or whatever it is. So it doesn't all come back to handling garbage.
Yeah.
There, you talked earlier about administration fee.
Mhm.
There's an administration fee there that we have no control over.
Sure.
And a big one, and it's a big chunk of those dollars that everybody's putting into it. I would like to see more of that diverted into trying some programs up here. We'd like to try some stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's going to cost some money to try it. And one of the ones that I've talked to Gary about earlier this year is we happen to be in a beautiful area, with a lot of lakes and a lot of boats that are covered in that blue plastic, and right now we don't really have a stream for that. The state has said we've got something in the eyeballs to do it, but are you going to give us some money to help us to get into that? Oh no, if you want to do that, you're going to have to do it yourself. Otherwise, just throw it in the garbage.
And
But-
again, that's the government taking the onus off the user and putting it on the manufacturer or the provider, because that law says the manufacturer has to participate in a program to recycle it. So the end user has zero responsibility in being environmentally friendly with their product and their
Right.
choices.
And it's all in education. That's why I really appreciate you guys having us in the can, because we can get some of the facts out there. We still have some of our opinions, and there might be some other ways of looking at it. You guys see it definitely from you're out there picking up the cans,
Right.
and we're trying to work on the other side of it. So how do we work through this whole system and work with the other 87 counties that are trying to do this?
Right.
And so we have to be able to have that flexibility. And right now, the state is pretty much with your, what is it, 115A3,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That pretty much sets the rules. And just to let you know, last year they had about 5,000 bills go through the state. You know how many actually got passed? Somewhere around 50.
Wow.
So that's our side on our side of
I
the
wish we could
dumpster.
get paid to complete 1% of our job.
Yeah.
You know,
Talk about it.
one thing I will say through our doing these episodes, we started with a goal of educating our customers and the public. We've learned an awful lot from all the different people that we've had in here. There's a county that shall not be named. They add, was it $86 a year for
86 a year, yeah.
like an environmental, and that's what pays for their recycling. So if we had a route in that county, we could dump that for free. Part of that. And I'm not even saying we need a free place to dump, just a place that's not out of county, because that's where the numbers are killing us and driving our prices up, is the out of county tipping.
Mhm.
And if there is a private company that'd be willing to do that, to get into that. I don't know about the county getting into it as far as I know, and I don't know how many counties have their own tipping floor right now.
Yeah, and how those discussions can go too, if I can help, is 65,000 people live here.
Mhm.
Obviously, we know it blows up in the summer, but
Sure.
out of that 65, over a third of them live right in Brainerd Baxter.
Wow.
When you're a city of over 5,000 people, you are mandated that you have to have a solid waste management plan for your city.
Mhm.
And both of those cities have chosen that curbside as an element of that. When the county looks at it, and our county, we're pretty proud that we have a $25 solid waste assessment. We also send you a $20 coupon. So if you use that, and it's a you could say a giveaway, but it's really a tool to help people do the right thing. So if you say, well, here's a $20 bill, why don't you clean out your garage? You know,
Sure.
we'll help you with that. Or clean out, you know, the backyard that has 6 tires growing the mosquitoes and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. You know, we think it's not just we can get a way better environmental impact the way we do it, but the county board is always looking at how much should we be charging the customer
Sure.
on our end too. And it's a tug of war because we all want to do the right thing.
It is.
What is the best mechanism to get there is always at a discussion.
For the least amount of tax dollars.
Yeah.
I will say that you guys do a pretty dang good job of handling our environment in Crow Wing County in general.
Thank you.
Well, it's why people come here.
We do live in God's
and we
country.
need to be good stewards of it because, you know, we can't replace what we have out here. We have to be good stewards of it. And part of that is what we do with what I think we do really a good job with our solid waste in Crow Wing County. So.
Yeah, that landfill facility is incredible.
Yeah.
What they got going on out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys covered it. You know, about 180 years, we believe we still have a capacity.
Yeah.
And that's if you just did what we do today.
Right.
I think we're silly if we don't think, who knows, 20, 10, 20, 40, technology,
Yeah,
things are
for
going to
sure.
advance, things will change, but man, we are set up for a long, you know, very few places and probably, you know, that have the ability and the foresight that we already set up.
Yeah.
What an asset for our community.
And we've invested a lot. I mean, we meaning us, all of us as
Yeah.
taxpayers, has invested a lot into that facility. There are counties right now that didn't do that 10 or 15 years ago. They're saying, you know what, we're just going to have to ship it out of our county because there's no way we can look at making that investment and putting it on the backs of the taxpayers to try to do it all in 1 year.
Right.
And so I think we're doing a really good job in keep raising that bar a little bit, keep moving that needle in the right direction. And as things come on and things come about, we're going to take a look at it. And I really like this venue to be able to talk to people about it because most of our time is spent taking an opinion and saying, here's the facts.
And your opinions, if they're based in fact, become a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just finish once again by hammering home that it really is the responsibility of each person watching these videos, and us included, to do better, recycle properly, do it better, and pay attention to your environment. And it's messy. People toss everything away.
We've become that. Well, it just doesn't work. We're going to throw it away and get something else. You don't understand what that throwaway really means and what the cost of the throwaway is.
Each person that does that just keeps compounding.
Yeah. But that education, that's why we're here.
We've gotten a lot of good feedback on these too, of people learning, like bags and recycling. That's a big one. Like, I had no idea. If you could be the world's best recycler, but if you put it in a garbage bag and tie it shut, it's going in the trash.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because it comes down that line and they just chuck it because you can't get through it all.
Oh yeah.
And we've found kids are the biggest one to educate because, like, if you go to schools and teach the kids how to recycle, they're going to go home and hound their parents about it to the point where the parents are going to get irritated and, fine, I'll just put it in the recycling.
Well, don't you remember as a kid growing up was, give a hoot, don't pollute.
Yeah.
I mean, recycling was something I was drilled in even when I was growing up. And so you think it's recyclable, it's recyclable. Is it or isn't it?
And people are getting really tricky. They're hiding things in other containers that,
We've seen at an apartment complex, tried to throw a microwave away. We pull it out. The driver climbs in and pulls the microwave out, sets it aside. We let them know you can't do microwaves. The next week, it's in there again. The third week, it was inside a black trash bag. Like, come on, people.
You're gonna have to think of what you have found in your garbage.
We should start taking a collection of pictures of that stuff.
We should have a wall of shame.
We should.
Is what we should call it.
We should.
We don't have to put names on it.
It's because
okay.
all the
But-
95% of people that are doing it right are paying the price for the 5%.
That's
refuse
correct.
to do it
That's
right.
usually the way it is. So thank you guys for inviting us to be here. We really appreciate you reaching out and letting us come and hear what your concerns are because we're all in this together.
Mhm. Yeah, we want to thank you guys because we really appreciate you being willing to come and have these conversations with us.
People don't always feel comfortable approaching, like coming to a county commissioner meeting or calling the county to ask the questions. So it's special to me that we've had now 4 people representing the county in different areas come into this and speak to these things because people are intimidated by it or whatever. So we're glad you're sitting in a dumpster to show how approachable you really are.
I feel very comfortable in here. Thank you so much.
You guys are always more than welcome at Solid Waste Committee too. If you have something that's a burning desire you would like to address with that committee, by all means,
Okay.
it's a great forum to literally get a lot of trash talk done.
Yeah.
This has been another episode of Inside the Can. Follow us on your favorite social media sites to ensure you don't miss the next aromatic adventure, because being trashy is much more sophisticated than you think.
You're
Take
here.
care. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Nice comfort. Will you call him Sensei?
Why?